Some investors say there is now a bigger threat to the global financial system than Greece. Stocks surged today in China after shareholders with large stakes in listed companies were banned from selling. But Chinese stocks are still down by more than 25% since mid-June. Joining us now from Aspen, site of the Aspen Institute's annual Ideas Festival, the news and finance anchor at Yahoo, Bianna Golodryga. Bianna, how are you out there in beautiful downtown Aspen, Colorado today? And I have a question for you. What impact, if any, minimal or maximum, is the Chinese stock market and what's happening to the Chinese economy having potentially here in the United States on our economy?
Well, potentially it could have a huge impact. First of all, good morning to you. The Ideas Festival is actually over, full disclosure. There are just too many airline glitches, so I decided to stay a few days longer out here in beautiful Aspen.
Oh, sure.
But going back to your question, it was a big wake-up call for China overnight. I mean, you look at the stock market, you talk about that 30% drop since June. You look at a 150% rise over the past year. That's a classic bubble that really defied fundamentals. And the thing about the Chinese stock market is that it's largely weighed on mom and pop investors. Chinese citizens, they're trying to bring up through the middle class, which is good on one part. On the other part, they're affected much harder than individual investors here in the U.S. would be. So we're seeing a rebound this morning. That's good news, but a wake-up call for them yesterday.
So, Bianna, within the Chinese government, within the Chinese hierarchy, the Politburo, whatever they have over there, is there a Hank Paulson, Ben Bernanke, other figures like that can influence and correct the market itself?
Sure, but for the past year, instead of being concerned about this run-up, they've been touting how great their economy really is and how robust and how it's growing in levels that we haven't seen in other countries around the world, which is true. But at the same time, you have a transparency issue in countries like China. So when they come out and say the economy is growing at, let's say, 7%, where we saw 10% earlier, you have to take that with a grain of salt. And the reason why U.S. should really be concentrated on what's going on. It's not necessarily because you or I may own Chinese stocks, and in fact only 1% of foreign investors are in the Chinese stock market right now. It's because of the ripple effect in A, confidence, and B, you're talking about the second largest economy in the world and the largest owner of U.S. debt.